Charizard gets the farm down, in comes Galarian Stunfisk. Not a great matchup for Charizard, down a shield, but Wong not baiting, he full sends the Blast Burn, the Pancake respects it with a shield, and just like that, Wong makes an absolute savage catch, catching a Rock Slide on his kitty. So, welcome back to the home of Shadow Pokemon. Yes, you can see Perrserker isn't a Shadow, but anyone that's ever used Perrserker will know it's an honorary Shadow, and my god, today have we got a treat for you all, as in my opinion, the best battler in the world. My friend Wong, aka NoobGiratina, has submitted some battles. Last season, Wong did finish third overall on the end of season leaderboards with an elo of 3695, incredible. He's now hit leaderboards once again with only 330 battles. He hit legend this season with only 295 battles. So yeah, I can pretty much say Wong is without a doubt one of the best in the world. So without any further ado, let's get into his battles. And in game one, we led Shadow Machamp into Obstagoon. You absolutely love to see it. The opponent save switched into a fairy. So this is going to be double charm. Shout out Math Magic, because that is who we're playing. And I already know, thanks to Twitter, he loves double charm. But guess what? Wong is about to ruin your absolute life. Not only did Wong maintain alignment, he leads with the close combat locked and loaded Obstagoon due to the dark. Normal type in, double weak to fight in close combat. Near one shots, Wong now brings in Charizard. It's obviously Charmer number 2. In the back, Wong, being the master showman, goes for an unnecessary catch just because this game is unlosable. He now makes the Rock Slide. Does the opponent want to give up that final shield? Yes, they do. Even if the opponent catches, this game is over. Wong, still with a shield, can easily shield up the Weather Ball. He's now going to look to throw one wing attack and the Blast Burn. This is going to obliterate A9. The Obstagoon has 1 HP and a Dream in her back, and one wing attack is all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. Double Charm or Double Fairy, as he wasn't actually using Charm. Get fucking wrecked. Moving on to the next battle, we see Ampharos in the lead. The opponent is building up a boatload of energy. Wong goes to the harder hitting Rock Slide, and the opponent makes a great catch, catching the Rock Slide on Jellicent, but Jellicent is not going to appreciate the Perrserker. In comes Perrserker, we overfarm Wong as always, throws it immaculate timing. He lands the foul play. Jellicent does survive on 1 HP and a Dream. Perrserker not the bulkiest, but we do tank the Shadow Ball on the chin. Wong now commits to the Shadow Claw farm down, and it is Scrafty in the back. Scrafty is not going to appreciate the close combat, draws a shield. Wong now sends out Charizard. He instantly clicks no shield, daring the opponent to foul play. They just throw the power-up punch. Wong needs to be mindful of the snipers. Ampharos is absolutely loaded again. Wong is calling his on brutal swing, and it is a brutal swing. Wong then looks to make a combo play of his own, catching the resisted brutal swing on his Machamp. Wong still hanging on to them 2 shields. He's going to let his Machamp get super low, so there's no farm for Scrafty. Cross chop is going to take out Ampharos. Back out comes Scrafty, 1 counter, takes us out. Wong full sends the Blast Burn. Scrafty can either shield or let it go. The opponent does shield. We've got 2 shields remaining. Wong looking to flex, no, last second, shielding up the power up punch. The opponent again is going to make a charge move. Wong still has a shield remaining. We shield up yet another power up punch, but we make the Blast Burn. Even though Dragon Claw would be enough, why not flex the hard hitting mood? And that is a good game. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next one, we see another Obstagoon. Is this Double Fairy? I said Double Charm earlier, but it's the same principle. It is not. The opponent sends out Charizard, and it looks like Wong is choosing to stay in. He gets baited with a Dragon Claw, but there's no baits. Wong full sending the Rock Slide. Charizard does give up a shield, and now he enters the mirror. The opposing Charizard is going to strike first, and Wong opts to no shield. The opponent sends the Blast Burn. Ouch, that hurt. Wong now overfarms and returns fire with his own Blast Burn. Charizard lets it go. Wong maintains switch alignment. Back out comes Obstagoon, and Wong, like a hero, commits to the Blast Burn. He makes it on 1 HP and a Dream, and Obstagoon gets left deep into the yellow. The switch timers are misaligned, so Wong waits out his full timer, as we are going to be switch locked temporarily. So Wong is going to fire off the Rock Slide, looking to get that final shield off the opponent. The opponent does give it up, and he sends out his kitty, aka Perrserker. The mono steel typing on Perrserker does mean we resist everything in Venusaur's arsenal, although you can see Frenzy Plant, an absolutely busted move to leave us deep in the red. Wong looking to overfarm to the back-to-back moves, but is this foul play gonna be enough to knock out the Venusaur? No, it's not. They do survive on minimal HP. They throw the Frenzy Plant, an easy no shield for Wong. The Obstagoon does have residual energy. The opponent looks to bring it in. Wong wisely saved his shield. He can easily shield up the cross chop, commit to the counter farm down. Venusaur is dry, so to save time, Wong doesn't bother throwing and counters down for the win. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, see Dragalge in the lead, not particularly good. For Machamp, Charizard doesn't really fancy it either, as this thing does usually run Aqua Tail, so Wong choosing to stay in and goes for the Rock Slide. Rock Slide does draw a shield from the Dragalge. Dragalge now looks to overfarm, firing off at Aqua Tail, and it looks like Wong is going to settle for early shield advantage. He's now going to look to send out Perrserker. Perrserker doesn't really have to be too worried. Non-stab Aqua Tail isn't going to do much despite Perrserker being fairly squishy. Wong easily tanks the first. He's also looking to tank the second. The second Aqua Tail has got us now down to around 33% HP. The opponent looks to combo play into a Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales didn't fancy that first close combat. Does the opponent want to give up the final shield on close combat? Number 2, they do not. The opponent had the newly buffed Alolan Ninetales, the Shadow variant, but in this match it was straight in and straight out. Wong now looks to combo play into his Charizard. He can easily return the shield here, commit to the farm down, and you already know something in the back is about to get nuked. Well, something should have got nuked, but the opponent very wisely opted for the top left button. Moving on to the next one, we lead Shadow Machamp into Dragonite. Pretty dreadful. For Machamp, as counter and cross chop are resisted. However, the Rock Slide coverage would one-shot Dragonite. We shield up the Dragon Claw. Wong now over farming, going for the cross chop bait. Does the opponent call the bait? Yes, they do. Holy smokes, what a call from the opponent. You can see some of these leaderboard players have huge cojones. Wong now in an absolutely dreadful spot. The opposing Shadow Dragonite has taken out 1.5 Pokemon and gained shield advantage, and if things weren't bad, they're now even worse as the opponent has Galarian Stunfisk in the back. Wong is going straight for the Blast Burn. That gets us back to shield parity. The opponent looking to overfarm, and Wong makes an absolutely savage catch, catching the resisted Rock Slide on his Perrserker. However, we're not out of the woods yet. This Bear Trap has a whole heap of residual energy. Wong correctly shields up the Earthquake. He's now looking to overfarm. He's going for the close combat on a CMP tie to the next Earthquake. The opponent lets it go. Stunfisk is left on 1 HP and a Dream. That is really heartbreaking. Earthquake takes us out. Charizard comes in and it is Skunk Tank in the back. Wong not baiting, going straight for the Blast Burn. The opponent lets it go. Can we farm down? We cannot. And we lose a heartbreaking match. GG's to that opponent. Moving on to the next one, the tough leads continue. Shadow Machamp into Charizard. The opponent looks to overfarm. Wong also overfarms. He fires off the Rock Slide on a CMP tie. Charizard commits a shield, and it looks like Wong is going to settle for shield advantage. Dragon Claw takes us out, and again Wong now enters the mirror. Wong looking to go straight for the Dragon Claw, and the opponent this time makes a fantastic catch, catching it on the Walrus. We got a great response for Walrein in our Perrserker, especially up shields. Wong fires off the close combat on again a CMP tie to the Earthquake. It's 9 Powder Snows to the first Earthquake, and Wong's counting as always is immaculate. Back out comes the Charizard, and Wong does commit a shield on the Blast Burn. He doesn't throw. It looks like Wong is choosing to shield up and commit all the way to the Shadow Claw farm down. We get the farm down, and this little kitty is absolutely loaded. It's a Alolan Ninetales in the back, and Alolan Ninetales isn't going to fancy the close combat as the first one. Draws the final shield. Wong almost at the next back-to-back. He is going to land this close combat, and Ninetales is now left deep into yellow. The opponent has to throw before we make the next one. This Weather Ball, even though resisted, is going to take us out with a 4-stage lowered defense. Charizard still fairly healthy. We can tank the Weather Ball. I think we've now got the Blast Burn locked and loaded. Yes, we do, but as I've always said, Wong's counting is immaculate. He overfarms, giving the opponent a false sense of hope, and fires the Blast Burn off on a CMP tie for the ultimate BM. Moving on to the next one. We see the battle of the Shadow Machamp into Kingdra, counter ripping through this Water Dragon, but Dragon Breath tearing through Machamp. Wong going straight for the kill shot with the Rock Slide. The opponent commits the shield they are going to need to throw, or we will make a cross shot. They do throw, but it looks like it was on alignment. Wong sneaks the counter. He now thinks he can make the cross shot, and he does on 1 HP. And a dream. Is the opponent willing to commit the final shield? No, they are not. Wong wins lead, and the opponent comes in to a Walrus. It's also a Shadow. Are we seeing a triple Shadow team from the opponent? I don't know, but what I do know is Wong's counting is immaculate. He fires off the close combat on a CMP tie. The opponent calls the bait. Hashtag Wong wasn't baiting, and it is now the Charizard mirror. Wong immediately fires off the Dragon Claw for some chip damage. The opponent hanging on to that final shield. Wong makes Dragon Claw number 2. The opponent needs to shield something. The opponent does finally commit that final shield. I think at this stage you can just call the bait, and Perrserker should be primed to sweep this game. The opponent sends the Blast Burn. Shadow Claw is going to start ripping through the opponent. Wong calls the Dragon Claw, and holy smokes, we get Blast Burned. GG's to that opponent. Moving on to the next battle, Shadow Machamp not picking up the best leads. We see another Charizard. The opponent does fire off a Dragon Claw. This is too early for a Blast Burn, as it is 7 to the first, 6 to the second. So Wong did tank it. He now returns fire with the Rock Slide, and Rock Slide does get a shield advantage. Shout out to this opponent. This is actually a battle against Ike the Bot, a friend of mine and a mod on Homeslice Henry's Discord. A great battler. He is known as a bit of a Spice Lord. He's often featured on Homeslice Henry's YouTube. Go check him out. He's also got his own YouTube. But getting back into this battle, we fired off the Dragon Claw. The Charizard did survive on 1 HP and a dream. Ike now sends out Snorlax. We get the final shield with the Blast Burn, and Wong putting it on shield advantage. Perrserker, tough decision to make. We're up 2 shields, and Wong's huge cojones call the bait. I normally say every time you masturbate, you kill a kitten, but in this case, this kitty does survive, showing its 9 lives. Wong looking to overfarm. Is this close combat going to be enough to knock out? If it is, I think we're in a great spot. Snorlax survives on 1 HP and a dream. Absolutely heartbreaking. This means Wong has to commit his final shield. You can see it literally was 1 HP. A Shadow Claw is double resisted, and that Shadow Claw did take out Ike. Ike comes in and throws the Blast Burn, and now this game is absolutely over. GG's to Ike. Moving on to the next one, Shadow Machamp out here picking up a great lead against the Bear Trap, and the opponent sends out the Flying Toilet Pelipper. Wong has a great response in his Perrserker, and he fires off the foul play straight away. This Flying Toilet needs to return to the Great Leagues. That did a lot of damage. The opponent fires off the Weather Ball, and Perrserker shrugs it off. This again is just a Weather Ball. The wing attacks are resisted, so Wong can easily no shield. It looks like we're going to look to overfarm. Wong fires off on a CMP tie again, always maximising his energy. Pelipper lets it go. We've maintained alignment. In comes Stunfisk, looking for the farm down, but Perrserker says, I think not. We fire off the close combat, draws a shield, and now he sends back out Machamp. Wong still with 2 shields remaining, calls the bait, and the opponent is no master baiter, and in the back it's Pidgeot. Wong goes straight for the Rock Slide, draws the final shield. We send out Charizard, and Pidgeot is not going to appreciate the Blast Burn. Wong is going to shield up what probably is a Feather Dance, but you may as well shield something. Wong now looking to overfarm towards the back-to-back Blast Burns. Blast Burn won't knock out as we've been debuffed, but holy smokes, it does a lot of damage. Wong fires off the Dragon Claw again on a CMP tie, denying Pidgeot its energy. When Stunfisk does return, it's about to get cooked, so the opponent concedes the match. Moving on to the next one. We see Shadow Machamp into Swampert. Counter is really going to add up, but these Hydro Cannons do come very fast. The first one isn't going to knock out in the Ultra League. Shadow Machamp does tank one fairly well. Wong overfarms, fires off the cross chop. Is Swampert willing to give up a shield? No, it's not. Can we farm down? The opponent switches out into Charizard. Are they keeping track of our energy? We make the Rock Slide. Charizard commits a shield. Wong once again enters the mirror. Is he going to go for the early Dragon Claw? It looks like he isn't in this scenario. Wong tanks the blast burn on the chin, and he is going to return fire with his own blast burn. The opponent already down 1 shield, lets it go. We can't wing attack farm down, so Wong looks to snipe with his Perrserker, and the opponent concedes the match. Moving on to the next one. We see Shadow Machamp into Charizard, it looks like. At the leaderboard, ELO range, Charizard is by far the most common lead. Wong builds up to the rock side and fires off the cross chop on a CMP tie. The opponent gives up a shield, and it looks like Wong is immediately clicking the no shield. The opponent goes for the Dragon Claw bait. Can we make one more cross chop for some chip damage? We cannot. Wong now enters the Charizard mirror. He instantly clicks no shield, daring the opponent to go for the blast burn. They just fire off yet another Dragon Claw. Wong now looking to commit a shield. We shield up a Dragon Claw. Wong is going to overfarm. He fires off a Dragon Claw at the opposing Charizard. This should be enough to knock out. What does the opponent send out? Holy smokes, they come in to Machamp. I'm already calling it's going to be double fighter. There's no other reason you'd bring out Machamp to this matchup. The opponent correctly shields up a blast burn. The opponent looking to go for the counter farm down. Charizard is resisting counter. We make the Dragon Claw. Can we farm down? We cannot. It's simul KO, and it is another fighter in the back. Holy smokes, counter ripping us apart. Wong is going to fire off the close combat. Is non-stab close combat enough to knock out? No, it's not. And we simul KO. Holy smokes, incredibly close game. I can now finally take a second to get my breath back. A huge thank you to Wong, aka NoobGiratina, for the showcase. So if you want to improve your PvP, take some notes from Wong. You can see time and time again, Wong continues to maximize his energy. There's not a single time when his Pokemon would win CMP against the opponent it didn't throw on CMP, getting every last bit of extra energy he could gain, and that is why he's such an incredible battler. His energy management is absolutely immaculate. I don't think I've ever seen anyone with better energy management than Wong. He also always throws these fast moves at the correct timing. You can tell that because you never see a fast move hit our Pokemon when he's throwing. So like when it's 2-turn versus 3-turn, like I said in my previous video, you need to throw at 1, 4 or 7. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you'd like your battles featured on the channel, a link to my battle submission form is down below. I'd just like to say thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.